Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Masters of Travel Advisory Series. And my name is John Werner. I'm the president of MAST Travel Network, an organization of over 200 travel agencies that specialize in travel all over the world and have really become specialists in river cruising in particular. And today I have a guest from Avalon Waterways. I'll introduce her. We're going to talk about river cruising today. And welcome Pam Hoffee, who is the president of Avalon Waterways. And Pam, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Thanks, John. It is fantastic to be here, and I really appreciate the invitation to talk to your network. So Pam Hoffee, as you said, I'm the president of Avalon Waterways. I have been with the parent company of Avalon, the Globus family of brands, for 20 years now. In September, I think we've known each other close to that long.
That's great.
It's great to be here and have a chance to talk to you and share a little bit more about Avalon. So, and I actually started working on cruise ships. So I don't know if you even knew that about me as my background.
I didn't.
Not on a river cruise ship, on an ocean ship for a company called Semester at Sea, which is a program that takes college students around the world. So that's my background. So I have a long history in cruising, actually.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. And yes, we have known each other for some time, and it's just great since you've been at the helm of Avalon Waterways and the growth that the company has experienced and all the wonderful experiences that travelers can have on the rivers of Europe and elsewhere. Of course, you have river cruises in elsewhere around the world. And so we're going to get into some of that today in our conversation. But I suppose we should start that by saying, why are river cruises so popular? Why have they become so popular?
Well, it's an absolute truth that river cruising has become really popular. And I would say probably in the last 10 years, maybe a little bit less than that, the popularity has just really taken off. And I think there are a few factors. I think that, just small ship cruising has become really popular. And that's one of the keys, is that this idea of being on a small ship, this intimate experience, I think is one of the things that makes river cruising really popular. It's a small, intimate experience where the crew, everybody knows each other, the crew knows everyone on board. It just really leads to high guest satisfaction. So people go on a river cruise once and they're hooked, and they come back and want to go on every river, that we offer. And I think that's really one of the key reasons. Another reason is just the great experiences that you get with river cruising. It's an all-inclusive experience in so many ways. The excursions are included, really great local experiences. And I know you've been on a lot of river cruises, and just the things that you do and what you see, and how, it's just not crowded. It's just really a unique and great experience to take you to the heart of the destination. I think that's one of the key things that is a unique selling feature of river cruising also, is that, we're sailing not to a distant shore where it takes hours to get to the place that you want to see, but we really do take you through the heart of the destination and to the heart of the destination with river cruising. So quite often you're docked right in the center of the village or the city and can walk ashore and get right to sightseeing from the ship. And I think that's really special about river cruising as well, and something that's made it truly popular.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think one of the things that I value, especially on river cruising, on a river cruise, is as you're going down the river and passing by villages and towns and farmlands and so forth along the way, it's just such a unique experience to see the country and the destination in a different way that you don't get from any other perspective. And it's just so peaceful, seeing life along the rivers, and you get to see places that are, we might say, off the beaten path a little bit in a small way, but it's just so wonderful. but so particularly to Avalon Waterways, why choose Avalon as your river cruise?
Well, something that you just talked about, so I didn't even have to bring it up in terms of that there's always something to see is one of the key reasons that I think makes Avalon so popular. So I'll get to that a little bit, but first I want to talk about some of the awards that Avalon's won. And I almost get a little bit embarrassed being so vain and talking about awards first thing, but I'll do it anyway. Cruise Critic named Avalon as the best in shore excursions for any river cruise line, which is something we're really proud of. And I think our being part of the Globus family of brands, which is a company with 95 years of experience in operating tours in Europe in particular and all over the world, is really one of the reasons for that. And I'll talk a little bit more about some of those unique excursions, I'm sure, as we get into the whys here at some point. We were also named Best in European River Cruising and Best Cabins 4 years in a row. And that gets into the views, I think. We also won 2 years in a row from USA Today, the Best River Cruise Line from the Reader's Choice Awards, as well as Best River Cruise Ship with our Avalon Envision, which is one of our newer ships that we launched in 2019. So another award that we're really proud of, that the readers of USA Today voted not only one of our ships, but 4 made the top 10 list. So, those I think are pretty high achievements for us, but it goes beyond just, hearing that others have said great things about us. So why the best cabin? So I'm, this photo that's here, that I have as my screen, as my background, is one of the key reasons that people choose Avalon Waterways. And it's our panorama suites. And I think it's one of the main reasons that we get voted best river cruise line. And there's a slide that shows this picture better, I think a few ahead here, that really brings it to life. So 2 full decks of our staterooms are this panorama suite with this 11-foot wide wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling window that we call an open-air balcony. So one of the things that's really important in river cruising is that you actually the ships can only be a certain width if you want to transfer through all of the different lock systems that connect the rivers in Europe. So if you create an exterior balcony on a ship, you're actually taking interior space from the room. And we had a very tough decision to make. And we knew that if we did that, it meant that we would be taking interior space from our guests. And so we didn't want to do that. We wanted our guests to have the best of both worlds. So this design that we came up with of creating a wall of windows really gives our guests the best of both worlds. You can have a balcony when you want it, as you can see, by putting that sofa in front of the window and a table. You can have your room service delivered, have breakfast there, and create that balcony experience by opening that door 7 feet. So it opens full 7 feet. You get a balcony when you want it. When you don't want the balcony, you can close the door and have the full use of the room. So, that's really why we win best staterooms in river cruise so often. And it's 2 full decks. So on every ship. So that's another thing I think that is really easy. You don't have to pick and choose and wonder, am I picking the ship that has that kind of room? Every single Avalon Waterway ship has that kind of room in Europe. So that's one of the key reasons to choose Avalon.
Yeah, it's such a great innovation and unique to Avalon. And so I think the award is definitely well deserved. And the guests certainly appreciate it. So a few minutes ago, early on in our conversation, you mentioned about a river cruise having a lot of flexibility. You have choices available to you so that each guest is able to have a unique experience just for them. So how does, give us some examples of how Avalon accomplishes that?
Absolutely. And, that's a huge part of the story of why to choose Avalon also. And, our crew is really one of the key reasons of bringing that to life. And, they are there to take care of every need. And we have a style on board that I would call relaxed luxury. And it really is a special feeling when you're on board an Avalon ship. Our goal is that guests are treated like individuals, and that you really get to choose and make your vacation your own. So one of the key things, points of flexibility, has to do with those excursions. And I alluded to that a little bit, and us winning the best in excursions. And we actually coined this phrase Avalon Choice about our excursion program. And as you look at our itineraries, you see that we've branded them with this kind of tagline of either a classic excursion, an active excursion, or discovery. And on many days, there are choices of excursions. And so the classic are things like a classic sightseeing excursion, going to see the must-see sites with a certified local guide who will bring the destination to life, tell you all of the stories about the place. Active are things that are active, exactly what it sounds like. So, hiking, bicycling excursions, kayaking and canoeing, even, all sorts of excursions like that. And then discovery would be things like painting classes, cooking classes, going to meet a winemaker. So all sorts of different excursion choices, which are very unique ways to experience the destination. We also have great ways to extend your stay, which I think really also help, to make the vacation yours. With airfares being as they are these days, people are really taking advantage of staying longer. And I think that's a trend that's just happening. 7 nights used to be the majority of what people were doing when they were traveling to Europe. And I think that's really changing. We're seeing a lot of people staying longer, spending at least 10 nights, up to 14 and longer. So we offer extensions, pre and post cruises with our Avalon Your Way program. You can even add a Globus tour to your cruise. So lots of ways to package in very easy, simple, one vacation does it all, program. And your travel advisor can help you to package it together very easily with Avalon. So that's another way to be very flexible. And one of the things that I think is the key reason with why we've been awarded the best in river cruise shore excursions are our active and discovery cruises, which truly are unique. And, they really bring to life this Avalon Choice program, because every single day there are at least 3 choices of excursions, and always a classic option, always an active, and always a discovery. So I always say that these are for people who are, who want to do things when they're traveling more than seeing things. And I think river cruising in general is for people who want to do more than see. And active and discovery really brings that to life. And we're seeing active and discovery cruises really bring kind of a new traveler into river cruising. And I think there was kind of this mindset that river cruising was for an older traveler. And we're seeing just in general, river cruising, the age coming down, and new travelers coming to river cruising, and active and discovery is certainly a part of that story. So what else, in terms of flexibility and making your vacation? Oh, I think special interest cruises was the other thing that I had shared as a reason. We offer a huge variety of special interest cruises. So if you're interested in wine, we have wine themed cruises with sommeliers traveling on board, masters of wine, who lead our guests through wine pairing dinners and different wine tastings, paired with cheese, paired with chocolate. And we add special excursions to those. We have beer cruises with a, beer master also traveling on board. We have garden and nature cruises, history cruises. We have one happening right now with a member of the Habsburg family. So, that's just a really cool experience to be able to travel with a Habsburg family member who'll tell you the stories of his life. So all sorts of special interest sailings also. So many different things that really allow you to, pick your passion and find a cruise that matches that.
Yeah, and because Europe so well, and you have lots of local partners, travel partners, suppliers, and so forth that you work with there that know the ins and outs of the regions and that you sail through. And you can bring those special experiences to your guests that they couldn't do on their own. And I think that's also what makes river cruising so special, because of the extras that you and the VIP experiences and that you can offer your guests. So Pam, I was going to obviously a lot of people, they know the Rhine, they know of the Rhine, let's say, and the Danube rivers in Europe, but there's other great rivers in Europe too that have some very unique ports that you can visit. So can you give us some examples or talk a little bit about those experiences as well?
Yeah, definitely. And this was tough for me to come up with just a few experiences. I could have talked for an hour with options. So I picked some of my favorite things that I've done over the years, and I've been lucky enough to travel on, these other rivers. So, I'll start with the Rhone, which is in southern France, and one of my favorite itineraries, traveling through Burgundy and Provence. So, if you like wine, this is a great itinerary for that. Lavender at certain times of the year, art, of course, Van Gogh spent a lot of time there. And this excursion is one in the Ardèche region that we do on our Active and Discovery on the Rhone cruise. And it is a mixture of caving and wine tasting. So you actually get in, as you can see, this is me totally geared up for cave exploration, and you go down to the bottom of the stairs of the normal visit to the cave, and then they lift up the rope, and we walked about a mile into the cave and met the winemaker and tasted wine in a completely pristine setting, is how he described it, because there were no outside scents. We turned off our headlamps so that we couldn't even see what color the wine was, and just had a pure wine tasting. So it was a really amazing experience. So that's one. Another one of my favorites is, to sail in Holland and Belgium. And I think, you've probably done this in tulip time, is my guess, because a lot of people think about it for tulips. We do offer a few cruises outside of tulip time, and this itinerary, this excursion is going up to Delft. So. And to the pottery factory with the famous blue and white Delft pottery. And you see the factory and you see the very charming town of Delft. But then we tried our hand at actually painting a tile. And that was really a very fun excursion. So this is one of our discovery excursions, and I cannot paint, and I was pretty impressed with myself. I've dared people to figure out which one was mine versus the one that was done by the artist. So that was a really fun excursion. Another river that I love, and I've had the opportunity to do this quite a few times, is the Seine River. So sailing from Paris up to Normandy. And this is another river that is fantastic for history buffs, going to the landing beaches, and the World War II history that's there. But the itinerary is so much beyond that. There's wine, there is art. Monet lived there, so you can go to Giverny to see Monet's gardens, and you feel like you're in the middle of a Monet painting. Van Gogh lived there also in that region for a while. So there's just so much to see and do there. But this is a photo of a really special and touching experience that happens at the American War Memorial, where we do a wreath laying ceremony. So anybody who was affected, their family was there, takes part in laying a wreath. And it's really, I'm getting chills right now. It's really just a very touching experience.
Oh, not bad.
And it means a lot to take part in the ceremony. And I've been lucky enough to go there a few times and be part of that ceremony. And for the people who, their uncle was there, their father was there, it really is special. So if anybody's been touched by World War II and somebody who took part in D-Day, it's very special to visit the memorial there and see. And even if your lives weren't touched by it personally, it's a very touching experience. So. Yeah. And then our newest river coming in 2024 for Avalon is the Douro. So sailing through Portugal. We're very excited about this. It is almost sold out for 2024, but 2025 opened a few days ago. So if you're looking ahead, now is the time to make plans for the brand new Avalon Alegria, which will be sailing in Portugal. Alegria means happiness, which we love in terms of a name for one of our ships, means happiness, joy in Portuguese. And, just another great region full of wine, agriculture. The itinerary will feature archaeological sites, going to meet winemakers, olive orchards, all sorts of really fantastic experiences there too. So hopefully that brought to life some of the rivers beyond the Rhine and Danube, which are also amazing experiences. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
You can do.
Yeah, this is wonderful. It's so wonderful. This looks like a picture of Porto in Portugal. And it's just it's an amazing itinerary. I haven't done it myself, but I know that it is truly special. And outside of Europe, talk to us about some of the other rivers that you take people to.
Well, probably one of my favorite itineraries that we offer in the world is on the Mekong River. So we have a very special small ship there. It's only 18 staterooms. You can see it here. So 36 guests. I mean, talk about an intimate experience. We thought it was really important to build a small ship there. So a few of the advantages of sailing with Avalon on the Mekong. We're one of the few ships that can sail all the way from downtown Ho Chi Minh City, so from the port in Saigon. So we eliminate a pretty long drive to a place called My Tho to board the ship. You can go actually from your hotel, if you come in early and stay in Ho Chi Minh City, right to the ship and board the ship in the city center. So that's a huge advantage. And then it's a very unique sailing right out of on the Saigon River, sailing out of Ho Chi Minh City and then getting onto the Mekong from there. So a very unique experience. And the other great thing about having this small ship is that when we go into these little villages, I mean, the itinerary is a lot of small village experiences. And so when we do that, we're not actually overwhelming these small villages. At most, you're with 36 people. So, it's really an amazing experience and a great way to visit. And then the other big advantage of the small group size is that rather than taking this long drive at the end of the trip to go to, most people continue and take the extension at the end to go visit Angkor Wat and the temples there. We can actually fly from Phnom Penh to Siem Reap instead of making that long drive, which most companies can't do because they have too many people to fly. Yeah. So that's another big benefit that we have. So that's one. Another itinerary that I was lucky enough, I've been to Egypt a few times, but I'd never sailed on the Nile. And I was lucky enough to do that in January. And Avalon, we don't have our own ship on the Nile. We partner with a company, with a company called Farah Nile Cruise. And it's a beautiful ship. And what is a big advantage is that we do a 4-night Nile cruise. And in those 4 nights, we do the same thing that many of the other companies do in 7 nights. So the advantage to that, it is a fast pace. I'll admit that it's a very fast paced itinerary, but it gives you, 3 extra nights and the extra money that you save by not having the longer cruise to go to add our extension to Jordan. So you can go and you can add Petra and the Dead Sea. So I think it's really a nice advantage, and what an amazing experience. Seeing the Valley of the Kings and Queens, Nefertari's tomb, King Tut's tomb, this is Nefertari's tomb in this photo. I mean, it's just really a special cruise and an amazing experience. So we stay at the Marriott Mina House, which is right at Giza. So your breakfast is overlooking the pyramids in the morning. I mean, there's nothing more incredible than that. Yeah. We also offer the Galapagos. So that's not a river, of course. That's a small ship on a small catamaran with only 9 staterooms. And then that's not our own ship. We do charter ship there. And we also offer the Peruvian Amazon. So quite a few different destinations outside of Europe that we offer.
Yeah, and it is growing. Other opportunities sometimes become available in various parts of the world, and And so you're well positioned to take advantage of those opportunities. And it's so great, like in Egypt, to have those many options that, people, when they go to that part of the world, they don't know if they're ever going to get back there that way again. So if they have one and only one chance to go visit the area, that you have different options to give them to whatever is most important for them. So that's so wonderful. I thought food, of course, is a big deal when you're vacationing, and trying the different cuisines of the world and having some really meaningful dining experiences. So can you talk a little bit about the dining on board the ships, as well as the dining experiences ashore that you offer?
Sure. I think you're absolutely right that when you're traveling, you want to taste the local foods and you want to try the regional dishes. And so I'm really proud of our culinary team and what they've managed to bring to life on board our ships. And so every itinerary has a different menu. So you will never come on Avalon and you won't say, oh, I was in France. And then, the next itinerary was, if you went from France to Germany, you wouldn't have the exact same menu, because our menu cycle is regionally inspired, and it also changes with the seasons. So, they really do create a menu that is based on the region, so that you're trying things. And as you move along the river, the menu changes to reflect the places that you're visiting, which I think is really important, so that you don't feel from being on a cruise, you've missed out on tasting the local flavors, which I think is really important. In addition to that, we partner with locals, so that you're even tasting things from the local communities. So our chefs go ashore and buy local bread, for example, every day, in order to have local breads on our breakfast buffet and our lunch buffet, so that you truly are tasting local cuisine. We've also partnered with local winemakers who, one in particular has become a very good friend to Avalon. He's based in Budapest, and we even do excursions to his home. His name's Nimrod Kovac. You can find out more about him on our website. Our goal is to make even more, friendships and partnerships. And we have others. We have Christoph Hoppler, for example, outside of Vienna, and others along the rivers in Europe, to bring local wines directly to our travelers, so that you're also tasting the regional wines and we do only serve European wines on board. And our wine cycle also changes with the region where you're traveling. So there's always a local wine paired with dinner as well. So flexibility, I think, is another piece of the puzzle. So kind of going back to flexibility, river cruise ships are small, so it's not like a big ocean cruise ship where there are 10 different places to eat by any means, but we do try to have options for our guests. So there's always the dining room. We have a little small area in our lounge that we call the Panorama Bistro, and we always offer lunch there and dinner. And it's, small courses, dinner. So it's a different venue. You can sit outside. You can have, again, paired with wine, a great alternative to going to the dining room. And then one of the things that's, really loved on our ships is every ship is built with a grill up on the sky deck. So a few times every cruise, we do an outdoor lunch, assuming the weather cooperates, of course, called our Sky Grill, and then room service, which I mentioned. So lots of different options, even down to picnic baskets. If somebody wants a picnic because they want to spend their, lunch ashore, you can, our team's happy to pack a picnic for you. And then I guess the last thing that I want to talk about, because it's just becoming such a trend, people have special diets that they follow at home, and they want to continue their healthy lifestyle when traveling. So we partnered with two Austrian brothers called the Rank Brothers to help us with our healthy menu called Avalon Fresh. And, it was originally all vegetarian, and it has somewhat expanded to being more about healthy food, and we just love working with them. They bring a great energy to our team, and working with our chefs to create this healthy choice of. So there's always on every menu. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we have Avalon fresh choices as well.
Yeah, so wonderful, and many neat experiences. And I love the fact that that you do incorporate the local cuisine and go ashore. The chefs go ashore and shop locally, bring those fresh ingredients back. Everything that people dream of when they are going to Europe and they want to taste the pastries and what have you, from everywhere. And of course, the local wines. And you do include wine and beer at lunch and dinner. And so it gives everybody an opportunity to, again, sample the local wines. And that's what they're there for.
Yes, absolutely. And we also, one thing that we added just this year that's new is we also include happy hour.
Mhm.
So, for most people, that really does make our trip pretty much all inclusive. Most people, that's exactly what they're looking for, is beer and wine with lunch and dinner and happy hour. Yes, it's pretty inclusive, and with local beers and wines, and great chance to taste everything for the region that you're traveling through.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the very must see or must do experiences. And of course, Europe in particular is filled with, there's a beautiful church to see. You could, every day you'd have that, or a palace or a castle. So there's plenty of churches and castles, palaces, and of course to see, but there's so much more that you offer. And so how about some of the other, must see or must do experiences?
When you'd originally asked me this, you said that you could really only do by river. So I thought about it, and I was thinking along the lines of things that were really special to river cruising. So one that I thought of was sailing the Rhine Gorge, and this is really a special day. The Rhine Gorge is dotted with castles, and this is an image of the Rhine Gorge. It's an either afternoon or morning sailing from your ship, and everyone comes out on deck. The cruise director's there narrating and telling you the stories of the castles as you sail through. You can see there are vineyards dotting along the side of the gorge as well. It's just really a beautiful day. And one of the things that we do that's really special on one of our itineraries, the Active and Discovery on the Rhine, we actually dock overnight to where we go, and we do an exclusive private event at one of the castles on the Rhine Gorge. So it does require a little bit of a walk uphill to get to the castle. So that's why we do it on our Active and Discovery cruise, so that guests, are open to doing that little hike after dinner. But what an amazing experience to go up to one of the castles and have this evening there. So, the Rhine Gorge, I think, really is something special to river cruising.
Mm-hmm.
On the Danube.
That's right. Oh, I was just going to say early on, that's why I said, there's experiences that you offer that people just can't do on their own. And that castle evening experience is an example of that.
Yeah. And, on the Danube, I think there's a similar incredibly beautiful sailing through the Wachau Valley that I also wanted to highlight as another, must see from a river cruise perspective. And this image is of Dürnstein, which is in Austria, in the Wachau Valley, and also other exclusive experiences here. We have one where you go to meet the count at his castle. His name is Count, it's called Clam Castle, Count Clam. And he's really an interesting man. And he tells you about, owning and inheriting a castle, and that the village doesn't pay for the castle anymore, and how he now has to fund this castle. And so it's really interesting. One night we were there and Foreigner was playing. He has a whole series of concerts called Live at Clam Castle. So he does a concert series there in the summer to help fund, keeping up his castle. And so it's really an interesting perspective on being, new age royalty in Australia.
Yeah.
And so, again, just a really unique experience. And there's so many experiences like this. Sailing in and out of Paris, I would say, is a real must see and must do once in your life. The same thing in Budapest, arriving into Budapest at night, or seeing it illuminated. So to me, when you'd asked about things you can only do on a river cruise, that's really what came into my mind, was these incredible sailing experiences. And it's what really river cruising, what's really special are the views, and it's what river cruising brings to life. Oh, this is something that I love, and I thought about also is that quite often we go to 2 ports in one day, and we have bikes on board, and you can always take a bike and bike from one port to the next, because they're not super long distances, and you can see the ship the whole time. The ships don't sail at a super fast speed. So, once a captain joked with me and he said, "I bet you'll beat us to the next port." And it was a bet. And I did beat them to the next port, but it's kind of a fun thing to do. You don't have to try to race the ship. As I said, the ship will pack you a picnic lunch. You can take our bikes and have a beautiful lunch along the way and meet the ship in the next port. So that's another really fun experience off of a river cruise ship that you can do, that just isn't something that you can do really easily otherwise, to, take a bike and your transportation moves ahead and you can catch it in the next place.
Yeah. Well, you've just given us some really great examples and unique examples or unique experiences that you're right, you can only do from the rivers and on a river cruise ship. And before we start wrapping things up, give us the need to know tips about planning and preparing for a river cruise vacation.
Sure. Well, one really important thing is I think people need to plan ahead. We talked about how popular river cruises are getting. And, if you have a particular date that you want to go, or a particular cabin, especially if you want one of those top cabins, the Royal Suites. So the panorama suites that I talked about, where we have, 2 full decks, 80%, there are a lot of those, but we have something called a Royal Suite, and there are only 2 of those on every ship. So if you're looking for one of those do sell out pretty quickly. So, if you really have specific cruise you want to do, or a specific cabin, I would, reach out to your travel advisor, get their help in booking early, because those things do sell fast. And a travel advisor, in terms of tips, is really going to be such a great resource for you. They know what your needs are, and maybe you aren't used to working with a travel advisor. Hopefully you are, and you have been, but let's say you haven't been, use them as your planning resource for a river cruise for sure, because they know all the different river cruise lines. I certainly hope that Avalon is the right fit for you, but we might not be. And so they're going to help you in finding the right company for you, the right itinerary for you, and make sure that your vacation is really a fantastic experience. And so that's a tip that I would have. If you are a solo traveler, Avalon has great promotional offers, waiving the single supplement on every sailing for a limited number of rooms for solo travelers. And that is the first promotion that fills. So that's another one that I would say is a book now. So I think those are my tips for planning and booking a river cruise vacation.
Yeah. I think in river cruises, are great for solo travelers. You get to meet other people and enjoy, the experiences with others as well, and also do your own thing. You have the ability to do your own thing as well. So you get, a great experience all around. We do have a video that we'd like to show before we wrap things up. So let's play the video.
Fantastic. Thanks, John.
There may be comfort in the usual, but true discovery and remarkable experiences are the rewards for the curious. They are the gifts that reside beyond the ordinary. Welcome aboard Avalon. Smaller ships, Bigger experiences, fewer people, more of everything, right at your fingertips. And you wake up in the best staterooms in the business, to a new port every day, right in the heart of great cities, with nothing but possibilities ahead. Driven by out-of-the-box thinking and a relentless pursuit of better, Avalon heard the siren song to elevate cruising, and they have. So if you believe that life is worth living, not looking, memories are worth making, that better stories need better settings, and that we could all use a little different, you're ready for an Avalon cruise.
So amazing. It's just spectacular. So Pam, is there anything else you'd like to tell us? For final words.
Well, that I just want to mention our video. That's our spokesperson, Graham McTavish. Hopefully people recognized him from Outlander, from The Witcher, from lots of great series and movies that he's been in. And he will be hosting one of our storyteller cruises in 2024.
Wow.
So if you want to travel with Graham McTavish, there still are a few rooms available. So I think that's the only other thing. And we actually have a whole series of storyteller cruises that I didn't even mention that when I was talking about, there's so much to talk about when I was talking about our theme cruises. So I really appreciate this opportunity, John. It's always great to talk to you. Thanks for your insight on your experiences on the rivers as well. It's really fantastic to have your thoughts as well.
Well, thank you so much, Pam. We really appreciate that you spent some time with us talking about the wonderful experience that Avalon Waterways offers. So it's all great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.